Well, we want to welcome you to a very special episode of 4 Words to Transform. This is episode number 8, titled Love Endures All Things. It's a special episode because I'm joined here with my wife, Andrea. If you don't know her, today we're celebrating our 16-year wedding anniversary. We were married May 8, 2004, and when I proposed to Andrea, she wasn't sure right away, and she said, that she really felt called to be a missionary and asked me what I thought about it. And I was honest with her. I told her that I don't feel called to be a missionary. I feel called to be a pastor, but I'll go on one mission trip with you for sure if we get married. So she agreed. We got married in 2004, and then in 2005 we went to the Philippines to serve with Philippine Frontline Ministries for 6 weeks. When we came back from that trip, we arrived in the States, and immediately both of us felt like we were out of place. We felt like fish out of water, so to speak, and we knew that God was calling us back to the Philippines. So we did auctions, fundraisers, garage sales, however we could. We saved the money we needed, and in 2006 we went back to the Philippines to serve with Philippine Frontline Ministries. But what we did not anticipate was that at that time when we went, Andrea was 7 months pregnant with our first child. So Andrea's going to share about that experience with you.
So we're here now in the Philippines, and we know God's called us here. We're excited, but then culture shock sets in. I'm 7 months pregnant. I don't have a doctor yet. I have negative blood type, so I'll need a shot after Josiah is born. And that shot comes all the way from Hong Kong. And we didn't even find the doctor until 2 weeks before Josiah was born. There was a lot of struggles, a lot of hardships, and we were homesick. But we knew God had called us to the Philippines. And we were young, and we weren't really sure what we were doing. We didn't always feel that we were equipped to do everything that we were asked to do. There were things like dealing with lice with the kids, knowing how to care for children that have been abandoned, have been neglected. We didn't always feel that we had all the right things to do or right things to say, but we had love. And in our weaknesses, God's love shines through.
Those first year and a half that we were in the Philippines, it was really also hard because Andrew and I were so young. We didn't really know who we were as ourselves, who we were in Christ, who we were with each other, let alone becoming a family and having our first child. There were so many things that we had to learn. And as we look back on it, there's so many stories that we can share from the 13 years that we were there. But as we look back on it, there are really 3 things that God did in our lives to help us. And I'm sure that it's His recipe for all of us. The first one is that we were in our calling. And when you're in the calling that God has for you, when you're serving Him as He's called you to, His grace and His equipping and everything else that comes along with that is included. And it helps you to succeed even in your weaknesses because we rely on His strength to pull through. So the first one is calling. The second one is commitment. Andrew and I, during this time, were extremely committed and loyal to each other. And that's, our wedding vows weren't a joke to us. We meant them. And to this point, we remain fully committed to each other. We're also committed to, of course, God and the calling He has for us. We were committed to Philippine Frontline Ministries, all of our friends and family there and the people we serve alongside. Commitment is the glue that held us together in difficult times. And then the third thing is community. We really felt like God brought us to a community in Philippine Frontline Ministries and all the other friends we had around San Pablo City and through the Philippines. So calling, commitment, and community, those are kind of the 3 C's that helped us to get through this time and that we look for now, even now, in this time and the stage that we're in our life. And 1 Corinthians 13:7 says, "Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance." We've been through plenty of circumstances in our 16 years of marriage, and we're not here to say that our marriage is perfect and that there's no problems and that we don't go through any difficult circumstances, because if you're married or in a long-term relationship, that isn't true anyways, right? We all go through things, and yet when we love each other, when we follow God's calling, when we make a commitment and stick with it, and when we have a community of people who help to support us and each other, we can do it. We can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. We can endure, and we can succeed and thrive in the calling that God has for us. So we just want to share our anniversary with you. And remember, love endures all things.